Hello class, in this video I'll explain the different types of texture maps. So here I get 5 common texture maps. First is the diffuse. So diffuse you can understand as the color map, which is the basic texture map that gives the color of the model. And then we have the bump and normal. So what are these maps? So basically the bump map is old type of map that is used to generate detail on the surface. So the surface is generated based on the black and white value. So for white color, it'll simulate the model being pushed out, and for black color it'll be pushed in. And then normal map is more commonly used now. So normal map is based on red color, blue, and green. So use the red, blue, and green as the XYZ for the depth value. And then we get an ambient occlusion map. So basically ambient occlusion map is used for increase the contrast of the model and add some shadow to your model. And for specularity map, it's used to simulate the reflection on your model. Alright, so now I'm applying the texture maps one by one to the model and let's see the difference. Okay, so here's the cube, very simple cube I created. And then we can go to window rendering editor hypershade. Okay, and hypershade, and you'll have this window. And we can go to create material, and these are the 3 main material we would use. First is a blend, and second is number, and third is a foam material. So these are 3 basic but major material we will use a lot of times. So number material, it doesn't have any reflection. And blend material, we use it a lot for metal, and it will have a very sharp reflection. And foam material also has a strong reflection, and we use it for glass. Okay, so here we'll start with the number material, and I'll name it as a M01. And here's the color channel. And the way how I will be able to import the texture is go to the checker box, click on that, and go to the file, and find a location to get my texture. However, here since we are moving on to texture mapping, right? So one thing we have to do before we do texture is we have to create something called a project folder that will place everything together in a hierarchy file. Okay, so when you move your project to a different computer to work, and the Maya will know where to find the texture files. Otherwise, the texture will be off on your model. So we'll go to Tool Menu, File, and Project Window. And here's the hierarchy where you would like to create your project. So here, let's see, New, and then you can check in location, where you would like to save your project to. So here, let's see, if I save it to here, texture types. Okay, I'll save it to this folder, and just click confirm, and then I give it a name. So here I'll say just box, and here are all the subfolders. Okay, so let's do accept, and then if you switch to your Finder, and here you will see this is the project folder that Maya created. It has all these assets folders. So later on when you render image, it will be stored in this folder, image folder. And for your texture files, you will place it in this folder, source image folder. And for your scenes, which is the MA file or MB file, you will save it to here. So now I just created a cube, and let's just save this project. So if you save it, as you can see, by default, it will go to the box project folder and the scenes folder. And here we'll put the name box and MA file and confirm. All right, so now I'll just delete this material and redo. So I'll create a material number and give it a name, and then for a color channel, I'll click on this checker box and use a file texture. And for image name, I'll click on that and give it a location. So see, it is looking for texture in our source image folder. Alright, so now we'll have to bring all these images into the source image folder. So I'll move it here to the source image folder. Alright, so now you'll be able to see it. So we'll load the diffuse map and open, and we'll apply this map. And then you'll just press 6 key. You'll be able to see the texture on the cube. Okay, so that is with the diffuse map. And I'll place it on the side, and I'll make a duplication by hit Command and D key. So if you're on Windows, you can just hit Control and D key. Alright, so here I will create a second material. And second material, let's also do number material. And here let's say 2, and I'll say bump. Oops. Okay, so I'll give it a bump map. Here color map, I'll leave it as empty. So here for a bump mapping, click on this checker box, go to File, and here for use as, since we'll use as a bump, and then for a bump value, click on this arrow, and then go to Image, and we'll load this bump map, and click on OK, and then apply the bump map. Okay, so here's how it looks. As you can see, it simulates the bumps, the depth on the model. If we select the model, you can see the face is actually a plane, right? It's a flat plane. However, here it shows the bumps. If you create a light, see if I do create and create a point light, and if I place it in front, and I check on the lighted mode, and see now if I move my light to different location, you can see how the surface is corresponding to the direction of the light. It generates a shadow, then lighted area. Okay, so that is the bump map, and I'll turn it off, and I will also hide this light. Alright, so now let's duplicate this cube, and for the third cube I will also create a material, and I'll say a number material. Okay, and I'll give it a name M03 and normal. Okay, so for this one I will also use the bump mapping channel. Click on this checker box, go to File, and however for users, this time since we are using normal map, so I will use the tangent space normal. Okay, and then for a bump value, click on that and load this bump image. Alright, and then apply our third material to it. Okay, so what's the difference? You can see if I check on the light, and then if I show the light, and if I move the light across and comes here. Okay, so basically as you can see, for normal map it gives you a more kind of accurate and smooth surface, right? So for the bump map, I think right now the value, the color is too sharp. So here let me open all the maps. Okay, because it is too contrasted, so that's why it shows like this. So if you just mark all of these places, the bricks as a white color, and here the gaps as a black color or some dark gray color, so it'll be smoother. Because right now my image is very sharp, so the model is very sharp. However, again, even though you do that, your bump map will not generate as much detail as the normal map do, because the normal map, since it is using the colors, right, the red, blue, and green, 3 different colors to simulate the RGB, to simulate the XYZ axis. So it is a 3-dimensional, right? So it is more accurate. However, for a bump map, it only have white color and black color. So it only gives information about push out or push in, right? So it is not that accurate compared to normal map. Alright, so that is the normal map, and let me hide this light, and I'll turn off the lighting mode, And then here, let's see, create a new material. And this time I'll create a beam material since we're going to use reflection. So do a beam material. And for a beam material, here we'll give it a name, M04. Let's see, Specularity map. Okay, so we'll leave here as empty, and we'll go to specular color, and we'll load a map. And here we'll load a file, and then we'll select the image specularity map. As you can see, for specularity map, it's also black and white. However, we'll use it for reflection. So any area that marked in white color, it will reflect lights. If it is pure white, it will reflect 100% of the light. If it is some green, light gray, it will reflect, for example, 20 or 30% of the light. Dark gray, it will reflect 70%, and pure black, it will not reflect any light. So click on open, and now let's duplicate this cube, place it aside, and then select our material and apply. Okay, so since we are only using the reflection map, right? So now nothing is showing up. However, if I turn on the light here, place the light here, and then turn the lighted view. So now if I move my light around, you can see the difference, right? So this area, it reflects the light, and this area doesn't reflect light, or part of the light, as you can see here. So now the surface is corresponding to the direction of the light, and it's going to generate reflections. Okay, so that is a reflection map. And then what is use of the fifth map, which is the ambient occlusion map. So as I said, ambient occlusion map is more like a map you created to simulate the shadow. Okay, so usually people would use a program like a Photoshop, and they would bring in the diffuse map and then overlap it with the ambient occlusion map. Okay, so you just place the ambient occlusion map on the top, and then you can change it to multiply, and you can play with the opacity. Okay, and this is on, this is off. Okay, so you can see the difference. Basically, you sharpen your image, and also increase the shadow, the contrast of the shadow and the lighted area. So you can do it here, or you can also do it directly in Maya. So in Maya, you'll have the option to use the ambient occlusion map, but people prefer to just do it in Photoshop and merge the ambient occlusion map with the diffuse map. Okay, and then you export a new diffuse map and just apply it to the, for example, the first material, apply it to the color channel, and it will be reflected on the model. Okay, so those are the different texture maps, and this is what they can create. So usually people would create one material and apply multiple textures. For example, here if I do create a material blend, and I see blend 5, material 5, and this one I would give it a color texture, which is the diffuse. Okay, and then select it again and go to the bump mapping channel, and I would like to use the tangent space normal map, and then I will load the normal map here, and then select material again and scroll down, go to specularity map, specular color channel, and we'll load the specularity map. Here is it. Alright, and then let's make a duplication of the cube, and I will select this cube and apply the fifth material to it. Right click and you can apply. So now this material, this cube, it has all the different texture maps, and see what they can do. So first, when I move my light around, you can see these bumps on the surface, right? The bumps. And second, definitely you can see the color, right, the detail of the image. And third, you should be able to see the reflection. See if I move my lights around, and you should be able to see the reflection on this bright area. Okay, so with all these texture maps, you can create a really kind of detailed, polished material and texture. So remember, for blend material we have created, right? The blend material we have created, since the whole thing, it will reflect light. See if I just create a blend material again, and let's apply the fourth cube, and this is the new material I've created. So remember, for blending material, it's going to reflect the light through the surface. Okay, see, everywhere it reflects the light. Okay, so that's why it's important you have a specularity map. So whenever you have a specularity map, see if I select it and apply, and then it will mask out the area that you don't want reflection. Okay, so it'll only reflect light through those white areas. Alright, so these are the texture maps and materials.